Ooh. Stand by for the stream. Stand by for the stream. And here we are, sort of live, waiting for Madaghmire to actually start something. Hooray! Yep, waiting. There's a completely different game that I'm kind of watching that I could put up. It may be confusing because it's in the middle. It's a bunch of TRC 90s shooting at each other. I mean, I could put it up, but fun for everyone. Oh, that's cool. Where's he broadcasting to? And by Steven, do you mean Klon? Oh, okay. Is he broadcasting his own game then, or is he waiting to broadcast this? Okay. Well, that's something to tab over to then while we wait. Madaghmire and Truthiness have popped into the lobby. Maybe one of them will actually get started. We have signs of life. Please continue standing by. Stream will begin momentarily. And we're live. Now we just need to wait for someone to actually start a game. And we'll be ready to rock and roll. Also, we've got a few guests who will be popping into the stream tonight to say hello and add commentary. Ooh, no, that's all wrong. Hold on. That is not quite right. I gotta fix that. Hopefully you guys can see it from where you are. Looks like they're working on some comm issues, slight delay. Alright, so while we're waiting, let's go over each person's list. Madaghmire, he's named his list the Corrupted Fireball. Both of our competitors today are going to be Galactic Empire. Madaghmire's list clocks in at 398 with a Victory 1 class Star Destroyer as his flagship. Madi on board. It's the Corruptor. It has Wing Commander, Flight Controllers, and boosted comms. So it's there to put out quite a bit of a squadron hit from far away, not to mention a bomber hit as well. On the other side, he has an Imperial 2 class Star Destroyer. It's got the title Avenger, Captain Nita as its officer, gunnery teams to make use of that big front arc there, electronic countermeasures to give it a little bit of added survivability and let him use the brace against those big shots, and also XI-7 turbo lasers to punch through the shields of his opponents. As for squadrons, the only fireball that he really has is those 2 fire sprays and Howl Runner and Major Rhymer to complete the ball. The rest of his squadron points are tied up in either defenses for the ball, for example the TIE Advanced, and Dengar, or anti-squadron fighters, which would be Howl Runner Soontir Fel, and Mauler-Mithel. So that's Madaghmire. Give me 1 second to pull up Truthiness. Alright, here's Truthiness. You can see, unlike Madaghmire, he went a little bit heavier on the bombers. He brought a actual old school, or as I like to call it, the vanilla Rhymer ball, as opposed to the cinnamon from the fire sprays. So his old school fireball, or his old school Rhymer ball, is Major Rhymer plus 6 additional TIE bombers. And Darth Vader for escort, with Dengar to keep them moving, and Soontir Fel to punish people who have to shoot Darth Vader instead. So there's not a lot of anti-squadron firepower, but a lot of anti-ship bombing ability there. And as you can see, he's got Gladiator 1 class with APTs, Engine Techs, and Demolisher, coming in at a cool 79 points. Old traditional Gladiator build. Victory 1 class with his flagship with Admiral Screed on board. Expanded hangar bays, and also APTs in case anyone's dumb enough to get into range 1 of it. And on the other side of that is pretty much the same ship, though without Screed on board. It's kitted out exactly the same way. Again, hangar bays and APTs. So between his 2 victories, he's going to be able to send 8 ships flying, 8 squadrons flying into the thick of things. That's all of his bombers plus an extra, probably either Vader or Dengar. So that's 2 activations, and he gets all his bombers in play. So we'll have to see who manages to come out on top of this. Now, Truthiness also has max number of points, 400 exactly. So Madaghmire is going to be able to have initiative bid. Let's see if haven't quite set up the table yet, but we'll let you know as soon as they do so. Bombers do have a pretty good, well, I'll say they're surprisingly anti-squadron, but I won't say they're good anti-squadron. That 1 black die, yeah, it averages out to about, still averages out to less than 1 damage per shot, and that's not great. Alright, we've got a request to read the prediction, so let's take a look at it. So, here's my thoughts on it. There's way too many things going in Truthiness's way this matchup to think he won't be able to take the win and move on to the finals. He's got the advantage in close quarters brawling, and he's got enough bombers to keep them all from being pinned in place. And I think that's going to be the path that leads to his victory. Just one caveat, though. A brawl in the middle of the field, while it favors Truthiness at close range, it's still random and chaotic enough, with ships overlapping squadrons, that it really could go either way. So, a lot of dice being thrown, a lot of squadrons being displaced. Advantage there tends to go with player 1, so let's see if that's what Madaghmire chooses. And how this turns out. But nevertheless, my bet is on Truthiness to take this win and advance to face either JJ's or Clontroper in the final. Man, game hasn't even started yet, and I'm already getting sass from the peanut gallery. Yeah, there's 6 of them. Yeah, they'll probably average out to about 4 points of damage if they all fire at the same target. And then they'll all take a damage from Soontir Fell, and not as shiny as it used to be, but you know, I'm still sitting at a respectable 8-3. So I'll take a respectable 8-3 any day of the week. Puts me up around, if I was predicting football games, it'd put me up around the pundit on TV's level. So, you know, feels pretty good. We'll see if I can keep the prediction record alive. At the very least, I know I'm going to have a winning record by the end of this. Worst I can do is 8-6 now, right? I don't know if I'd be making money at Vegas. I'd probably just be I think I picked most of the obvious winners. So if they were handicapping, I think I'd probably be out of some money. Well, if we want to talk old school, I'm actually I switched from running Rebels to running Imperials for the last couple weeks in my league, and I keep coming back to my old VGGR with 8 fighter cover. And it's been working out for me. It's pretty much a naked victory 2, Demolisher, and another gladiator that's Tarkin's flagship, and a pretty stripped down raider to either be everyone's scapegoat right off the bat or flank from the side, and then 4 fighters, 2 interceptors, Soontir, and Howl. So far it's been doing pretty good for me, but you didn't come here to hear me talk about me, the guy that dropped out before the elimination round. You didn't come here to hear me talk about my list. You came to see some good players play. So hopefully that'll be up and running soon. Still standing by. Well, Draws, consider looking at that Vic 2 with tractor beams. It's actually surprisingly versatile, I found. And, well, I'll be honest, my list does getting second player and playing with my objectives matters for that list a lot more than the ship selection did. I mean, the ship selection complements the objectives. Yeah, it really is hard to pass up on Demolisher. That is, if there was one card that feels like an auto include whenever you slap a gladiator down on the field, Demolisher. Demolisher is about the closest thing to an auto include that you're going to get on the Imperial side. And I'm not sure that there's any other card, 10 points or otherwise, that even comes close to quite matching it. But then again, Madig made it this far without a Demolisher, so he's keeping on, keeping on. I have no real clue what they are doing other than Madig is hitting the cans and Truthiness hasn't started the game yet. And I need to fix this. Oh, that looks ugly. There, that'll fix that. That'll be hopefully less ugly there. Well, Clone Trooper, I think the biggest advantage that he has on that list that makes that horrifically evil Demolisher that he's built, that 98-point monstrosity that he's built, work, is those other 4 Raiders flying around it. It's just enough activations that he can really hang back with that thing and then get it into position to hammer and then hammer again. And I really think that it's those Raiders that don't do all of the, that don't really do the heavy lifting compared to his Gladiator. But that Gladiator, man, it hurts. I've got a local friend who uses pretty much Clone Trooper's list. As soon as I told him about it, he had himself 4 Raiders and was like, yes, I need to use this. And so I've been getting some experience, not against Clone Trooper, but against at least his list. And it is really difficult to stop. And the only way that I've been able to have some kind of success is with a severe deployment advantage. Being able to make sure that my ships would be where I wanted them to be, and his ships had to bumble over themselves to get to me. So hopefully I'm not boring you guys. And it is 10:14 right now, and where is the game? Hold on a second. We're going to fix things real quick here. There is a game set up. It has started. Alright, we missed a lot because for some reason it didn't load initially. But that's out of the way. Things are really happening, and looks like deployment has begun. They have not changed it from turn 1 to turn 2. We have Truthiness arranged at the top in red, and he's got all of his squadrons set up around the station with his 2 victories pointed forward towards it, and Demolisher over to the far left side. We've got Madaghmire set up to the bottom. Yes, hold on a second. We will fix this. I see what you mean. Hold on. Stand by. That is the problem. We need to get that. Oh, nope. Let's fix this. Fixing this. Everything's going to be good. There we go. There we go. Position. Fit to screen. All the fun and excitement of Biggs not knowing what he's doing. Alright. Alright, it looks like Madag has gotten first player and has moved while I've been fixing problems. Fun and excitement abounds. Is it good for everybody else now? Can everyone see what they actually need to see? I hope so. Alright, I think I've fixed that. Everything should be functional now. Okay, Demolisher's moved. We're missing things as we go. As we go here. Demolisher's moved. What objective are they playing? Looks like it's contested outpost, and it is Truthiness's objective. So Madaghmire is player 1. He's activated his victory first and moved it. Demolisher has gone. And now we're going to see the ISD move in a second here. Here comes the ISD. He's moving at speed 1 and just moving straight, letting the gladiator come to him. Looks like we're starting to see some bombing runs take place. First shot is a miss. Second shot is a hit. Looks like Madaghmire was not prepared to be facing quite so many bombers being thrown at him right off the bat. But he's finding it out awfully quick as another hit crit comes in with one more left to be activated. Looks like he's going to brace this one. He's already redirected one damage to the side. We'll see if he redirects as well. Now, looks like he just took this one on the chin. And here comes the last one. And it's another hit crit. So that's quite a bit of damage that's been poured on, 5 total. And between braces, it's been reduced to 4. And redirects have bounced it around a little bit. Looks like Nita forced a reroll there. So that's actually, we're looking at, yep, Nita did force a reroll. It looks like Nita's replaced the contain. So Nita's reroll turned that hit crit into a nothing. So we've only had 2 damage suffered on the front of the ISD so far. Another miss from the bomber. But the cloud continues pouring in on that ISD. Another miss. Madaghmire's been getting particularly lucky here. Here comes Vader, who also rolls a miss. And the final bomber squadron. Thinks better of his potential movement. And he'll get the final shot. And also a miss. Some really bad luck with the dice. And that leaves Suntirfel and Dengar hanging back for the potential counterattack against squadrons. And his victory will move up speed 2, overlap the station, and guarantee that the first round token definitely goes to Truthiness. So far, out of that entire barrage, only 2 damage managed to stick on that ISD. That cannot be the first turn alpha that Truthiness was looking for here. Alright, looks like we've got attacks going on Vader, which has knocked him from 5 down to 2 from the 2 fire sprays. Dengar's moving into position. And Suntirfel is going to back up the entire bomber wing. But the damage has been done. Vader's down. Vader's been dropped down to 2 health. Has burned both of his braces in order to do so, even though it's not showing up on the squadron. He's using physical braces on the card, as you can see up there. Looks like Mauler Mithel's about to go crash the party. Let's see where he plunks down. Looks like he went and crashed right into the dead center of the party there. Doing 1 damage to pretty much the entire batch. Just outside of Suntir and Dengar, though. That puts Vader almost dead. Howl Runners joining the fun. Sitting just outside of the fire sprays. Generic tie advanced. It's going next. Let's see where he pops down. I'm thinking that he's probably going to be to protect. Yep, he goes to protect Mauler Mithel. Goes into the middle of the swarm. And there's still Dengar and Suntirfel to worry about. Now, I don't think we see Dengar engage quite yet. The reason being that there's only 2 ships that Dengar's really going to be working with. Oh, nope, we're going to see Dengar pop in and bring counter to that advanced. And Major Rhymer comes up and joins the party too. So it's just a big cluster of squadrons in the center of the map. No casualties for the first round, however. Truthiness does control the station, and he will get the first bit of points. First blood, Truthiness. Sorry for the random ding there.
User joined your channel.
We've got some special guests commentating today. Joining us right now is...
Okay, I am here now.
That's right. Joining us right now is Clone Trooper, who is going to be playing tomorrow. How's it going, Clone Trooper?
User joined your channel.
And also joining us is JJ's Juggernaut, the other competitor for tomorrow. So, we can engage in a little bit of smack talk and also chat about how exactly these things are happening. And hopefully they're hearing me, but on a delay. I need to go and make it so that they can hear me all the time. Stand by. Alright, so I've got push to talk activated right now, so I've got to remember that I need to push the push to talk whenever I want to chat with you guys. Hopefully you don't have the stream open, because that would be awkward.
Yeah.
Yep, I can hear you, and I just muted the stream, so I should be good.
Alright, so how are you guys doing? How's, are you excited for this matchup, and what do you guys think of it? Who do you think is going to come out on top?
I'll let Clone go first.
I'm not entirely sure on this one. Just because of the I haven't spent too much time looking at Truthiness list, ironically, since I actually played him. But I'm not sure. It's just kind of a coin flip for me at this point. I think Truthiness has a slight advantage just because of the extra ship. But it's hard to know with the fighters too, especially once you start getting like Dengar and like some of these high damage fighters in there, Saunterfell and Darth Vader. It just really becomes, you know, fighters just suddenly evaporate, and even though you have 30 more points in them, they're gone the next turn. So I don't know who's gonna pull it out. Obviously ISD2 is extremely devastating. The Avenger, if he gets a good Avenger hit up, that can swing it too. So I think slight advantage Truthiness, but it could go either way.
Alright, so as we can see right now, we've started on to turn 2, and both sides are debating who their first activation is going to be, and it looks like the first activation has happened. It's a navigate command that I think got turned into a squadron command by the Avenger. So we'll see what happens here, and then we'll go to JJ for his thoughts on the matchup. I take it back, it was the victory that activated and changed to a squadron command. Looks like Dengar is starting by moving into position. He's looking to tie down. Oh, no, thinks better of it. Maybe not. Looks like he's looking to tie down Darth Vader and Soontir Fel at the same time. We'll see if he actually does it. Looks like he's actually decided to shoot Darth Vader and drops him from the board.
Okay, I think I'm caught up with what's going on now. So.
Yep, so for those of you just joining us, and also Clone Trooper and JJ's, we are on turn 2, and we've seen Darth Vader stripped from the board. It looks like by that tie advanced that got activated, and he has moved now to block Soontir and be just outside Dengar's range. So he's looking to cover up as many of those bombers as possible and force them to fire on him. So that's what we're looking at right now with the first activation. Still a few more to go for Madaghmire's victory. So, JJ's, what do you think about this matchup? And I know both of you are excited to play whoever wins. So, who do you think is going to win? And more importantly, as a follow-up, who would you rather play?
Oh, those very, very interesting questions, and definitely have some interesting answers as well. But for the matchup itself, it's really interesting because obviously they're both Imperialists, so they're going to be getting up and close and personal usually. So I think the black dice in the victory ones shouldn't have any issue getting into range, especially as we move on into turns 3 and 4. So that, I think, favors Truthiness. However, those bomber rolls on turn 1 really, really hurt what Truthiness was trying to do, I think, because
Agreed,
now,
those were really harsh.
yeah, now it's just a mess of fighters, and there's a big furball going on. He's already lost Vader. If he loses Dengar here, his bombers are pretty much going to be worthless the rest of the game, and that would be horrible. And I think that could actually tip the balance. Obviously, the outpost is going to give him some advantage, so it'll be harder. You know, it's kind of hard to tell always early in the game what's going to happen. Going into the matchup, I definitely would have agreed with you saying I think Truthiness had an advantage, but things could be swinging the other way.
And it looks like Soontir took a shot at somebody, and it's looking like it is 2 hits and an accuracy. We'll see who that's against. Looks like Major Rhymer. And there's a second shot taken of 2 hits and a crit.
Just a quick side note, I love setups like this that allow your interceptors, such as Soontir Fel, to roll 6 dice, because it was like, earlier when you first see it, you're like, Wedge is a beast, but now it's like, nope, interceptors totally got this. I just love seeing interceptors wrecking stuff. Anyway, continue.
And that was Mauler Mythel, who shot at and then moved, and that cascades damage down onto everybody involved. And I think we'll see that updated in a second here. So that's going to bring Truthiness's Major Rhymer down to just 1 hull. And That means he's not too terribly long for this world.
Yeah, and I think we're definitely seeing the power of the Imperial Aces here. There's some people I know, Dras was talking about it earlier in chat, about how he seems like it's a little too much points, for it to go for the Vader, Suntir, Mythil, and Dengar kind of combo for anti-squadron, and Howlrunner as well. But they're just so very potent and survivable.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, even though that they don't really add all that much in anti-ship fire, the Imperial Aces really do work very, very well in clearing out the other side of the board, such as it is.
I can attest to that. In Wave 1, I dominated like 3 tournaments using just basically Imperial Aces, and they always earn their points back. Even if they don't bring a lot of squadrons, just blinking away does eventually get them back, and then scatter tokens, they're never going to die to anti-squadron fire. So they are really powerful. It's definitely true.
Mm-hmm.
By the way, do we know who first player is?
Yes, Madaghmire is first player, and he chose Truthiness' contested outpost. So, actually, we have seen a tie advanced from Truthiness melt away. So I've got to update the score real quick. If you guys have any commentary to add in the dead air while I modify the score, that would be awesome.
Well, I can answer your second question, I suppose, about who I would rather play. If it so happens I beat Clone Trooper tomorrow, which we'll worry about that later. But personally, I would rather play Madaghmire, just because I think my list is better suited to play against his. The large number of bombers that Truthiness has can definitely put a dent in my list, I believe. So that's the major reason I would prefer to play Madaghmire given the opportunity. They're both amazing players, though, as they've reached this far in the tournament. That should be obvious. So
I've got to say, of all the players that have gotten this far, I'm most impressed with Madaghmire, who hasn't played in a Vassal tournament up to this point. This is his very first showing, and he's showing up out of nowhere and making it this far is really something to be proud of.
I believe this tournament is actually his first Vassal games entirely, correct? Like, he had to download Vassal and learn how to use it to participate.
That I could not say, but if that's the case, then even more impressive.
Yeah, I think that's what he posted. I was reading through all the thread, the cup thread, and I think that's what he said. Anyway, to answer that same question for me, from a completely neutral perspective, I don't really have a lot of preference between who I would want to play, except for I've already played Truthiness because he is my pod mate. So that puts him in a unique perspective of me wanting to root for him because he's my pod mate, but I've already played him, so I don't want to play him again. So I'd also pick Madaghmire if I had to pick one, but that's simply because I've already played Truthiness. In the opening game of the tournament, I might add, which would also make it quite poetic if we played in the final. The very first game and the very last game were between the same two people, which would be cool.
Would be a pretty hilarious bookend to the tournament, I've got to say. Got a lot of good storylines for this tournament. Almost feels like our own little Super Bowl here, doesn't it?
It feels good. I've been getting fan mail. Literally, I've had 5 people PM me and be like, "I've loved watching your games," and I'm like, "Oh, this is fantastic." I've getting people requesting Raider tips and all sorts of random stuff. It's been great.
Awesome. Well, it looks like that's it for activations from Truthiness. He's activated his Suntir fell and also his Dengar, and attempted to make some hits, and it doesn't look like he's done a whole lot of damage here.
That tie advance over there is definitely hurting though, so I think he hit him pretty hard.
Yeah, I think he hit the tie advance twice and knocked him down to just one hull. I think what we may have seen was from the 4 dice was a counterattack after an attack on somebody.
And by the way, for the score, I just noticed Truthiness lost to Darth Vader, so not just a regular advance. So it's a few more points for Madaghmire currently.
Thank you on that. I'll fix that shortly.
Oh, that's a big roll there on Truthiness's Dengar. 3 hits and an accuracy, so no scatter. It's going to be 2 damage, bringing Dengar down to 1.
That is a harsh attack.
That is especially devastating considering Mauler Mythra is still about, and so there's nothing that Dengar can avoid death next turn. Blah blah blah. I speak English most days.
Wow, and that'll do it. Dengar is gone with another hit and 2 accuracies.
Meow. Sometimes scatter doesn't do much. This is interesting. We have early lead pulling off in the squadron game with Mag's fighters ripping apart Truce escorts, so it's going to leave him with just a bunch of bombers, which are not going to be doing much.
No, certainly not what Truthiness was expecting when he moved all his bombers into the middle of the field for that first alpha strike against the ISD.
And Reimer goes down as well, it looks. That's 3 of the Imperial Aces on Truthiness' side down.
Definitely interesting turn of events.
Mm-hmm. And that's a pretty savage swing there.
So what does that put the score at?
That puts the score. Truthiness has only so far managed to score 20 from holding the outpost, while Mag has cleared out 57 points of his opponent's squadrons between Darth Vader at 21 points, 20 points worth of Dengar, and then 16 points worth of Mauler Mythra. So, again, that's a pretty severe swing, and he's only continuing to clean up what looks like he's actually going for some shots on the flagship now. And that's about as good a roll as you're going to get out of a fire spray with a crit.
So this is on Kolberka? I don't know how to pronounce that.
Kolberka.
Kolberka. Interesting. Once the other thing that I'm looking at, if Avenger gets a couple accuracies, those VSDs are just going to melt. And thanks to Gunnery Team, he's going to melt both of them simultaneously. So it's really starting to look bad for Truthiness right now, especially since he's second player.
Yeah, I would agree. And it also appears that during most of this squadron engagement, his Suntir Fel was out of range of providing cover for all the Mag squadrons that were shooting at his, because it doesn't appear that there's been much Suntir damage to Mag squadrons.
Yeah, I think there was one on that tie advanced in the top right, but I think that was it that I saw. That is one of the disadvantages of second player. The squadron game really becomes tough as second player. So and we're seeing that pull through here.
Yeah, with second player on the squadron game, you're really hoping to convince your opponent to activate his squadrons to fly them into yours. And then, again, you're hoping that you can survive that first squadron attack's alpha strike so that you can respond and retaliate before he can get any more squadrons into place. And that's obviously quite a bit harder than just smash your face against them and haha, you win.
Well, normally that works well, but when there's the 4 Imperial Aces, I like to call them the scatter aces. They're the ones that synergize with each other, all the Imperial Aces with the scatter tokens. They completely destroy squadrons, and if you just activate the 4 of them, they're like 75 points of pure death for any enemy squadrons on the field, so it's pretty brutal, as we're seeing right now.
All right, we've got more shots on the Colberica. Looks like it has braced and redirected those. So it's stripped its shields from its it stripped the shields from its right side. That's the left side for us, but the right side for it. And it's lost 1 from its front arc. So we're looking at 2 to the front, 0 to the right. And all of its tokens are tapped, so it's not going to be really wanting to take any more shots than that this turn. And we'll see if anything else can shoot at it.
A good note for him, it does appear that he landed just barely out of range of that medium. So next turn he can probably keep it, relatively safe at least, by activating his other ships first.
Yeah, I find it kind of interesting how both players are kind of choosing to slow roll this one. I think this is probably from Mag's side more just due to how the squadron game started unfolding. He didn't want to end up rolling over the squadron ball. But I think that's kind of interesting.
I'm not going to say it's a terrible decision for either one of them. I actually think that Truthiness might be coming in a little bit hot on Mag here. Going speed 2 with both of his ships. We'll see if he continues on with speed 2 with his non-flagship victory to try and get it into the fight and score some hits against the ISD. But by only going speed 2 instead of speed 1, he's going to wind up getting himself away from that station and those guaranteed points. But at this point, he might be looking at the calculation in his head and saying, those guaranteed points aren't going to be what wins this for me. He's got to go hunting bigger fish.
Yeah.
Plus, he kind of needs to close the range fast, because that ISD-2 will destroy his entire list at medium range in only 2 or 3 turns. So it's by itself, that's without the rest of Meg's list. So he probably does have to close quickly and get his black dice into play.
However, what's interesting here is with the distances we have right now, that if that VSD on the station happens to have a navigate and be able to slow down, it could stay out of medium range of the ISD for next turn, which with Mag having first player means his ships are going to have to move into Truthinesses without getting optimal shots.
This is true. So interesting. I thought that Truth would actually pounce with Demolisher and get him in there and then bugger off. Maybe sit in the rear of the VSD, but instead he decided to dance around the outside because he was in range to go all the way in if he wanted to. But
yeah, it looks like he's good. He's setting up for a few turns of shooting for this one. He's only rolled. He's only rolled 1 red dice here. I'm not in. Oh, I see. He screeded it. He must have rolled 2 blanks.
Or something?
Yeah, I think they're using something else. I don't know what they're using as a chat, but whatever it is, it's not what we're using, unfortunately. So I don't get to test out what I'm going to be doing. Madaghmire has graciously agreed to pop on the same way that you guys are for your game, so he'll be able to chat with me and keep me company much like you guys. So we've got a plan for how to do that, and unfortunately today I don't get to test that out. So yay, more flying by the seat of my pants and figuring things out as it happens, just like everyone enjoys, so that you get such wonderful things as I can't see the whole map. And Biggs, your stream is terrible. What are you doing?
The whole fly by
Hey,
the seat of your pants, though, that's very Star Wars-esque, so.
Yes, this is true.
Well, I am nicknamed after a rebel pilot, so might as well live up to it.
And you are the one that dies first. I'm just pointing that out.
Hey, not first, but
Well, first of the
close enough.
Care about.
And you say you don't care about Porkins?
Porkins, yeah, I do like Porkins, but he died epically, so it was okay.
Porkins, Dutch.
I didn't even know Dutch's name until like X-Wing. I knew Porkins before that. Looks like Leaf just got on. Okay, so we have another shot. What was that from? That was.
I believe that was from the Victory.
Yep, through at the ISD. Looks like there was a Nita use on one of those crits.
That it does.
About something.
I think his Victory finally remembered that he had a Nita token, because he didn't use it against the one dice hit from Demolisher. Maybe he was saving it up for a double hit.
Yeah, makes me wonder what Truthiness accuracy there. Probably the brace, I suppose, but
It's kind of irrelevant because there's ECM, and that's going to be the last shot against the ISD this turn. So
true.
He might have done the evade.
But it looks like there will just be a few more squadrons to activate, and that will wrap up the round.
Mostly bombers shooting at each other.
Yep.
Well, the fire sprays can shoot out. There's still a fire spray that can shoot at the Victory if it wants. Actually, no, we might be engaged by Saunter Fell.
Well, here's a fun thing, is Soontir Fell's extra damage will work even if Dengar pops in and says hello and frees up that fire spray. If that fire spray is still sitting in Soontir's range, Soontir's ability still triggers if it fires at the ship.
Yeah, this is true.
Yeah, I've had that happen to me a few more times than I'd like.
Wonder what they're talking about right now.
That's a really good question.
Everyone is chatting in some sort of stream. Is that what you call this?
Well, it's some sort of stream. I mean, we're off in our little world, and they're off in theirs. Okay, we've got another fighter squadron that's been splashed. Looks like a TIE bomber.
It's gonna get bloody next turn. Okay, so TIE Bomber just took out that remaining hit point on the advanced. So Truth is getting a little bit of damage through anyway. He still has all the scatter tokens to get through though, so I don't think he's going to be able to gain dominance. Definitely not.
And that is a real tie advance this time. He needs to invest in some better black dice.
I was thinking the same
Yeah.
thing.
I let him borrow some of mine, but I like mine.
Interesting here that Truthy is choosing to shoot at the fire spray instead of at Suntir. I suppose he figures he can't get through, but with enough one-die attacks on scatter aces, that can kind of be one of their big vulnerabilities.
I think.
Well, Suntir is actually not engaged with any of those bombers because he's on the other side of that victory. You can see the red dotted Suntir is Truthiness is with, and the clear one is Mags. So all those bombers didn't have to shoot Suntir.
Sunterfell's sitting in the furball. Howrunner's on the other side, and Dangar is.
Ah, so you're right. It is.
But
I need to zoom in. I think it's time to. I think it's time to zoom in.
Yeah. So I think the logic behind shooting at the fire spray is that Sunterfell is a crap bomber. He's the same as a generic TIE fighter for over double the cost. So at this point, you're going to lose the squadron war. It doesn't matter what you're shooting at. So take out one of their good bombers first, and then he's down to very limited damage against your ships with his remaining turns if you can knock out one or both of the fire sprays.
All right, so another turn ends and another token gained from controlling the station for Truthiness. So now the score is 52 to 66. But the squadron game is definitely turning in Madaghmire's favor. So we'll have to continue to watch to see how things will occur, who's going to be activated first. It looks like one of his victories has gotten, Truthiness's victories has gotten into black dice range of that ISD. So we're going to start to see a lot more damage get thrown around onto that ISD, and he can delay, Truthiness can delay his second victory's activation until after that ISD is forced to move. So we're going to be looking at probably a lot of black dice being poured onto that ISD and a lot of fighters being moved around. Oh yeah, and Demolisher. Can't forget about him coming in from the side.
So, and with APTs, he's probably going to get 2 or 3 crits this turn. So maybe one of those will be real bad. I know that's one of the main reasons Truthiness won his last game, was he had a killer crit at the start of the turn against was it Reese he was playing? But we might see that happen again.
Well, I'm going to go out on a limb and say that we're going to see 3 crits against that ISD this turn, seeing as how he's got Screed to make those crits a reality.
Yeah, I believe that there will be 2, possibly 3. We'll see if there's 3. What might happen is the ISD is going to end up ramming Tech Jensen, and then won't be in range of Kelberka. So we'll see how the maneuvering plays out.
Well, someone just revealed a repair, and I'm going to go out on a limb and I'm going to actually not go out on a limb and actually check. Okay, good. You saw that it was the VSD. If one of you guys could be so kind as to actually check that so I don't have to move the stream to check on every little dial.
No problem.
Some kind of squadron fight is going on, and I'm not sure what it is. Howrunner is selected by somebody, but that's too many. Or no, that is just the right number of dice for Howrunner. I think he's shooting at Suntir Fell.
My guess is the engineering was changed into a squadron command via the wing commander. And
Did
now
he
we're
have a
seeing
token?
some squadron activations. I don't believe so. It may have been there and was deleted, but it could be being
That would make
changed into a
sense.
squadron command.
Yeah, the engineering doesn't do anything, so he must have changed it to a squadron command. And you saw another good roll, knocking out. I believe he had 2 accuracies.
Yeah, 2
Knocked out
health
Hunter
and tier
Fell.
going down in 1 shot. Wow.
So another bum for Truthiness, none of his scatter tokens are having any use, just from the sheer number of accuracies getting rolled on the other
And
side.
it was from a storm reroll as well there. That rerolled that second accuracy.
And I'm thinking that that is Major Reimer firing at one of the enemy VSDs.
I
That is
believe that was
actually
Dengar, actually. Yeah, Dengar was shooting.
Well, someone had black dice. So yeah, Dengar scores a hit, and it looks like
They hit
against...
Tech Jansen. And the shot was redirected to the left side.
Mhm. And then it looks like a bomber got splashed somehow.
Not exactly sure what happened there either, but
I'm guessing that that was Mauler Mythal not moving or slightly moving, and that's what splashed the bomber, because you can see all the other bombers in play are down to just 1 hull remaining.
yep, that was what it was. Man, Mauler Mythal, my favorite named pilot in the game. Not necessarily the best utility-wise, you know, there's Dengar and Reimer, but I love Mauler so much.
And now Madaghmire has taken out 93 points of his opponent's squadrons. So that is a real punishment to Truthiness's bomber wing.
That it is.
So I think there's kind of 2 possible reasons why this happened. I think one is Truthiness decided ahead of time that he didn't think he could win the squadron fight in any reliable fashion, and so just decided to throw his bombers out there for that first turn, and unfortunately he just got very unlucky. Or he kind of got a little careless with that, and maybe with some more careful maneuvering he could have kept his fighters and bombers around a few more turns to do some more damage, but yeah, it's hard to tell.
I think Truthiness was probably intending on having Dengar there and just flat out ignoring Max fighters for as long as possible, you know, to get 2 or 3 turns of bombing. But Dengar and Vader both evaporated very quickly, so his bombers lost the support they needed. My conjecture, anyway.
Looks like it's going to be Tech Jansen moving next. And, ooh, rolls a nice black dice roll.
Plus that screed.
Plus that screed. And
all that damage.
that's gonna leave a mark.
It'll definitely force the brace.
So he's taking 4 damage on the ISD, plus an APT roll, or hit. And that's post brace. And the redirect just flipped. So he is going to be redirecting.
And the APT appears to be thruster control malfunction.
I'm going to look that up real fast. So it's thrust control malfunction, correct?
Yep, and I have it right here. The yaw value for the last adjustable joint at your current speed is reduced by 1.
Okay. So nice little limiting crit. I don't think it's going to play much of a difference because they're probably going to be stuck in a warm embrace until one or both of the teams die.
Yeah.
But that will definitely ensure that the ISD can't get past because he won't be able to do a double click on the third joint if he wants to.
I'm a little bit surprised that Tech Jansen activated first. I was thinking that it was going to be the Demolisher getting in close and letting his ISD blunder into all the squadrons, and more importantly, blunder into black range of both victories this turn. So a little bit of a surprise in the activation order there, but
Yeah, I would agree.
other than that, a really nice hit.
Yeah. So I would imagine that just happened because of Truthiness. You know, he smelled blood in the water with his black dice in range. That's probably what happened. Obviously, we can't tell what he's really thinking, so that's what I think probably happened though.
And instead, he's going to blunder into the squadron pile and go for a little bit of a thumpy thump.
And this also puts him in black dice range for sure of Mag's victory 1. So perhaps if he had stayed back again with the ISD moving forward and blocking, it would have kept those black dice from being fired from Mag's Vic 1 for another turn.
Well, so those black dice have, or that Vic has already activated this turn.
Yes, but I'm talking about next turn. If it may not have gotten black dice shots next turn either, if Truthiness had activated Demolisher first. So this could potentially be a big move, big decision.
So there hasn't been much chat going on in the comments. Kind of surprised me. Usually we have at least a couple.
A lot of people watching though, which is nice.
Yeah,
it's good to see. It's good to see so many people interested in these matches. Hopefully, we get an equally popular crowd out here on Friday. Well, which by Friday I mean tomorrow at 9 o'clock, when the two people commentating with me that are actually good at the game go and play one another. Should be fun.
Yeah, I'll admit I'm nervous. So
you should be. You should be.
And we're going to be sitting here watching fighters get moved around for a little bit. Looks like they've decided on Mauler, Mythil, and Howl Runner off on the left side of the victory. And Major Rhymer to the front, a bomber to the side, the enemy bomber to the side, and the fire spray getting awfully tucked up close to that flagship.
we got an accidental maneuver tool drop there. Just a split second.
I'm sure I saw nothing. But more importantly, it looks like it's a repair command, and if I had to guess, that one's not going to get changed.
Nope. 2 shields on the front of the Star Destroyer.
That one. Yeah,
I know, he doesn't have it on... he's only got the change mechanism on the victory.
Now, one thing that's interesting about the shots coming in on Tech Jansen here is both of the redirects are already exhausted, so we could see some hull damage with a good roll going right through the front.
Plus XI7.
And that's a pretty good roll there.
I'll say, on the plus side, those accuracies beyond the first are all for nothing. But on the downside, that means he's taking 6 damage, 3 of it to hull, 1 of it a crit, and none of it being able to be mitigated in any way, shape, or form.
Yeah, those victories, they just start dying so fast once you get even a single accuracy in the pool consistently. It's pretty bad in Wave 2.
We have a point defense failure as the critical, which is when attacking squadrons, you remove 1 die from your anti-squadron shots. That is not going to affect this game at all.
Yeah, true.
It seems unlikely at this point.
I do want to point out that the ISD repaired shields on his, I believe his left side.
It was the front, actually. He
what is
chose
it,
to
go on the
keep
front?
the shields on his left and take some
Okay.
extra hull damage from that victory to protect against Demolisher, I assume.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's retained the 3 damage that he had before, but with Madi, that just brings him down to the ISD's normal 11 hull remaining.
Pretty nasty sometimes.
And there's the second shot going up against the flagship, and I'm pretty sure that we're going to see that braced down to just 1 damage.
So Truthiness' flagship fared far better than his support.
And they're not even going to bother to measure it, it's just a bump.
Yep, understandable.
That lead victory Tech Jansen is not long for this world, sitting with no front shields and only 3 hull. The only question that remains is, does it disappear this turn, or does it limp on to the next?
My guess is it will be destroyed first activation, beginning of next round.
Yeah, I do not believe Madaghmire's fighters have enough firepower to take it down with its defense token still.
Probably not. Not with... I'm not even sure if... well, no, that fire spray definitely can find somewhere to fit in and take shots on that front arc. But it's not going to be... Yeah, there's still 2 red redirects left in play, so he can keep it alive if he wants to.
Okay, so it looks like Truth's flagship just fired on the ISD, rolled 2 crits, one of which was evaded with the Nita token. So 1 more shield gone from the ISD.
And we'll see where his flagship decides that it's going to blunder. I think his best chance right here is to set his flagship up for a dual arc shot on the next turn.
I would agree with that. He does have a navigate, so he does have options. He can do what he pretends like he's a normal ship instead of a VSD for once. It looks like he's looking at that double arc right now.
Oh yeah, going for the Nebulon shuffle, keeps himself probably completely in. Yeah, he sets up that double arc shot and probably puts himself completely in the front arc of that ISD, but we'll have to see. Oh.
And it's also going to make it very hard for the second, or Mag's victory, to get any shots on the flagship. At least non-obstructed shots, I should say.
And there's the shot from our Gladiator, who does 1 point of damage. Demolisher revealing a navigate command, undoing it, and then redoing it for some reason.
Not a surprising maneuver with the engine text on.
Yep, when I run engine text, I usually do it every other turn, roughly.
I've got to say, I'm getting really nervous about the lack of people commenting in the chat.
I would agree. Come
Are
on,
you guys still
Our
watching?
viewers have gone up to 23. We might have a lot of people muted or something. For some reason, I cannot log on to Twitch right now. It's kind of driving me nuts.
Maybe that's something. You're still getting the stream though, right?
I am, yes.
I'm getting the stream, yeah. I just wanted to post a comment, but I can't log on.
Good. People are still watching.
It's too busy with viewers.
And a guy named Typo messaged me in Vassal to let me know he was still watching.
Alright,
Nice.
good to know.
Thank you, Typo.
Demolisher moves in, rolls, and then uses Screed for a hit crit, so 4 damage total with a hit crit.
The last redirect is getting spent, it looks like. Oh no, that was from the red dice shop. Ruptured engine.
I believe that's the one where if you change your speed, you take damage.
Ruptured engine. After you execute a maneuver, if the speed on your speed dial is greater than 1, suffer 1 damage.
Ah, okay, never mind then. That's another one that's not going to be a factor.
Yep. However, all the shields except for the rear shields on the ISD are now down, and it looks like we have 5 damage cards total.
Yeah, he's gonna start going down quickly. Real turning into a pretty bloody game right now.
I think we can safely assume that he's going to be the first one to activate next turn.
Yeah, he's gonna want to take 16 dice at those ESTs.
And now to make sure that points are still being tallied, I think we're about to see the squadron phase begin.
There's a slight delay in what they're doing for some reason. We'll see in a minute. So the good news for Truthiness right now, his biggest advantage is Demolisher is in a great spot and currently undamaged. And it's going to take a long time for those side arcs to chew him up. So even if his VSTs die, Demolisher might be able to pull it out.
That, and I don't think that his flagship's going to drop this turn. Whether it drops in the next turn's another problem that he'll have to deal with. But it's definitely not going to drop this turn, so it's going to get another double arc shot on that ISD without too much trouble.
Actually, well, I guess it depends on what the ISD has, but this victory is not going to be in the way of the ISD when he moves. So it'll be interesting to see what happens with that.
Alright, we got a hit crit with one of the fighters. Looks like the 3 hit point fire spray.
It's getting spread out evenly, one to the front and one to the left side of Truthiness' flagship. Definitely a good idea with the XI-7s floating around, as well as the other squadrons.
And we'll see what he decides to pull next.
Looks like Mag is going for the knockout punch, and I think he's firing all of his squadrons over onto Truthiness' flagship here.
It does appear so. That would be a huge blow if the ISD was able to kill both victories at the top of the next round. If it doesn't, I think the ISD most likely will go down next turn as well.
Actually, I take it back. Reimer did attack the other victory, and that was sent off to the side arc. And now we've got some. There's a bomber blown up. It was shooting at something. Looks like it was shooting at the fire spray. And it looks like another bomber shooting at the fire spray and getting removed from Soontir as well.
Yep. That's just painful.
Yeah, that automatic damage, you get in a spot where it's like, if I shoot, I die. If I don't shoot, I die. It's just it's pretty nasty. There's a nice shot. I'm not sure where that was from. That must have been Centerville. Yeah, that was Centerville shooting Bomber 6. Another fire spray moving on, and he's going to finish off the bomber.
Yep. Doesn't want to lose his other fire spray. Down to 1 health. And Bomber 1 appears to be just out of range. So Bomber 1 with 1 hit point is the last remaining squadron for Truthiness. Absolute massive.
And doesn't really have a good decision of what to shoot at here.
My guess would be Reimer. Anything else will just get scattered.
And is eliminated. Must have been in range of Soontir.
No.
Oh, no.
Had counter from Dengar.
That's right.
And Truth's squadrons are no more.
Wow, that's brutal. That's one of the most brutal squadron fights, one-sided squadron
And
fights I've seen
I
in a while.
believe he brought 127 points of squadrons, though I could be mistaken. So I'm going to go back and verify that. But right now the score is 127 to 52.
I have the list pulled up. He brought 129 points of squadrons.
Moving on to round 4. They're back in the command phase.
And token get.
Yep.
Yep. That will probably be his last token. You know, if this ISD has a squadron command, which he probably doesn't, but if he does, that'll probably put enough damage to kill both the VSDs, depending on what his role is.
A good enough red roll, and he might even have enough to get both VSDs.
Yeah, I think this game definitely is hanging in the balance at this moment on the top of this next turn. In fact, this very first activation. If Truthiness' flagship doesn't go down, now the game's still going to be pretty close.
The problem, though, is that the other victory is definitely in position to have that squadron command. So Truthiness has a choice at that point. If his flagship does manage to survive, does he activate it early, smash into his own demolisher, just so that he can get one last attack off of his flagship, which I think is his best bet. Or
so ISD just starting to get activated, and he reveals a repair command. Looks like he's stinking currently. Probably going to get a couple shields back.
2 on the front.
and saves his 2 on the back.
Yep. That's a nice spread out, since he still has both redirect tokens. That will allow him to pretty much always have 2 shields in play whenever there's Truth is shooting at him.
And here we go, moment of truth. The firing will commence.
Pretty sure this is the moment of May. Truth is the next activation.
There's
So
an
he just rolled
accuracy.
6 and no brace, which if that's on Tech Jensen, that does kill it.
Yep, it is down.
Okay.
And now, time for our second moment of Madaghmire, as he almost certainly opens fire onto... Yep, there he goes.
5
Looks
damage.
like it's 5 damage. His victory's going to limp away.
It's only going to take 3 hull damage, one of which will be a critical. So that's not too bad. I think he can risk taking the bombers, but I could be wrong. Maybe he'll choose to go ahead with it.
It also might depend on what the crit is.
Very true. Ruptured engine.
We should be familiar with that one.
We should be very familiar with that one.
But just for a quick reminder, Ruptured Engine, after you execute a maneuver, if the speed on your speed dial is greater than 1, suffer 1 damage. Bit of an error on the wiki, actually, on how that's written. And this might actually come into play because the VSD is at speed 2 currently, so if he doesn't have a nav command, he will be taking damage from that. But it should just be shield damage.
The ISD will definitely be obstructing his other victory's shot, however.
And he's still caught in the double arc. I would almost be tempted to stick that fire spray in front of Demolisher and let Demolisher use one of his shots on that. Almost.
Now while Demolisher's got the ISD double arced.
Yeah.
Yeah, I know, it would depend.
And we'll see what Truthiness decides. Oh!
Ooh!
Dark.
Ooh!
See, I didn't think he had it, so that's why I was kind of thinking about the fire spray.
It shouldn't matter too much. Demolisher will be able to swing around and get a front arc shot after its movement anyway.
Well, with the angle that it's at, it might not be able to.
Well, with engine
depends on what
techs,
he has.
and I would guess he has a navigate command lined up. And yep, there it is. Demolisher's going first.
Yep, there he goes.
Counting on that 5 hull being able to hold him down.
So unfortunately for him, he did not roll a crit on that
But
roll. So
he
had
had
to use
screed.
But that means he will not have screed for the second shot, which only has 2 black dice.
And this is why I am a huge fan of Ordnance Experts, even with screed. I've tried a few times with just screed, and You can't go wrong with the Ordnance Experts.
Yeah, on my build, most of you know, I use Screed plus Ordnance Experts, and you just reroll everything and then Screed to clean up a little bit.
Alright, so the question is, what crit are we going to see here?
So it looks like the EST actually decided to keep his brace token.
So
and
he'll
just redirect.
makes a certain amount of sense because
He did decide to brace. Oh no, he's indecisive. It's changing colors rapidly right now.
well, he knows that there's going to be more hits coming his way that might be more punishing than just 4 damage.
This is true.
Critical is damaged munitions.
And he did decide to keep the brace.
So damaged munitions is when attacking a ship, you remove 1 die from your attack pool.
If Truthiness is very lucky, that won't come into play.
ISD now at 9 damage cards.
Leaves him at 5 full.
Ooh, did he just redirect to the front? It looks like he just redirected to the front instead of the rear.
He did. My guess is he's planning on taking the second demolisher shot to the rear shortly.
Yeah.
Oh, this is just, it's very close. It's very close.
See, I don't think Demolisher can get into the front arc in that angle.
Oh, yeah, he can get into it. He's currently going speed 2, and I think we're going to watch him slow down to speed.
He can slow to 1.
Unless he's going speed 3, in which case he can slow down to 2, and with the yaw, he's got that front arc.
Yeah, he most definitely has a shot.
Yeah, he does.
And let's not forget engine decks.
Well, engine text wouldn't help him get that front arc shot.
Depends on how you use it. Ouch.
That'll be screeded.
This is where, well,
Screed
he can't
was already
use
used on the first roll.
Oh, yes, it is.
Just what I was saying, Ordnance Experts are just so helpful.
So, unfortunate truth, black dice continue to betray him. So now it's the ISD with a brace token basically versus a double arc Vic to see if it can survive 5 damage.
The double arced Vic does have APT and Screed waiting in the wings, so that's 1 guaranteed damage that will happen.
Yeah, it all comes down to the squadron rolls, and then the following up what I assume will be an obstructed shot by Madaghmire's victory.
It is definitely looking to be a very close game.
And we'll see that turned into a squadron command.
Almost guaranteed.
Yeah, he has nothing to repair, so I definitely think it will
Yep,
switch.
Primer coming in.
Primer coming in hot.
One hit. 4 hull remaining.
And right now, the Truce flagship is basically defenseless against these guys. He still has a brace token, but so you can use that.
The brace token is green.
Yeah, but most of these, if they're only doing 1 hit, he's just going to be eating it. And any crits that come up, he's eating.
There's 2 hits with a crit, so that will be braced for sure. Blinded gunners, no spending accuracies.
Not a particularly problematic crit there.
Second
Yeah.
fire spray. One hit. So we have 6 damage and 1 squadron activation left. So it'll survive. Well, depending on the long range shot. Oh, man.
It would have to be a pretty whopping, like.
And don't forget that he can redirect the long range shot, because that long range shot's probably going to come against his. He might have front arc. He probably has front
line
arc.
of sight on the front arc. So he needs basically 3 damage with his 2 dice, which is possible but unlikely to kill it right now.
Well, that's not what he wanted to do.
The technical difficulties of Vassal are entertaining sometimes.
Yep, he's got the front shot. He just needs 2 damage.
That'll
Oh!
do it. Wow.
That's exactly what.
That is exactly what he wanted.
And he saved his ISD, which is now going to be able to run away next turn. So.
Yeah, that
Wow.
pretty much decides the game. It all depends on if Demolisher can come back around in time to hit the ISD. I mean, the ISD is only going speed 1, so there's a chance it will die next turn. But Demolisher's going to have a tough time surviving this.
Did he move his victory yet?
Nope. Looks like they're undoing.
Okay, I must have just figured it out. I was about to type to him. You might want to move your victory first. Wow, what a turn for Truth. Chats are lighting up a little bit about that. Those
And
little-
so, report on the score real quick. Madaghmire is currently in a very commanding lead, 321 to 72.
So yeah, at this point, even destroying the ISD, I don't know if that's enough points to put Truthiness into the lead.
Yeah, he'd have to destroy both of them, which he's not kitted to do, especially without Screed.
And the last 1 to 2 rounds of this game, Mads will be getting the contested outpost as well. So
This is true.
No one gets contested outpost this turn, though. And there's still some squadrons left to be placed. And those squadrons are not going to be able to participate in shooting. Okay, I see. Those are just regular movements of the squadrons, not any placements. And they're definitely going to block that Demolisher in and get their shots.
Okay, so back to the command phase. And this will be the last command set for Madaghmire.
Really, there was no need, technically, to set dials for Madaghmire or for
Oh, true. This is Truth's
last, but no, not really a point for Mag, though, I appreciate him actually setting them. Who knows when remove an opponent's dial might become a thing.
So the ISD is activating first, which is to be effected with an engineering command.
2 shields put onto the rear.
That should be enough to keep it alive and fly it out of at least the double arc.
Yeah, that needs to be a total of 7 damage through the brace in order to kill the ISD. Yeah, that's a tall order, I think, without Screed.
And Demolisher is not going to last long against the combined firepower of those fighters and even just the rear guns of those Star Destroyers.
Don't mind me, just activating squadrons so they look pretty. And are correct.
Was that you? That's funny.
That may have been me. I'll say this, in my local league, I have a tendency to be the guy that activates everybody's squadrons because no one friggin' remembers.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I always remind players when they lift them up to move them, I'm like, you might as well just activate it now. Save yourself some trouble.
Good way. So, Star Destroyer put, looks like drop the shields on the left side of Demolisher with his rear guns. And then you're gonna slowly roll away.
That'll probably get him into range of the station, so token time. And more importantly, that Demolisher is in a horrible world of hurt from all those squadrons.
Yeah, this is true.
Oh, there's a hit crit.
He's going to keep pushing.
So he's going to be dropping those shields back down and then just doing the APT crit.
Yep, there's the brace. And the crit is Calm Noise. Which, if I'm not mistaken, yeah, your opponent may either choose to reduce your speed by 1 or choose a new command dial and flip this card face down. So my guess is the ISD is going to speed 0.
That seems like a pretty reasonable assumption. Let's see if he can get that front arc onto that ISD with a really tight maneuver here.
Is that 2 clicks on the first right now that he's doing or not?
He was going speed 2 and he has a navigate command, so he can certainly do that.
Yeah, but did he double click the first joint there? I couldn't quite.
Yeah, that was 2 clicks on the first joint. Let's see if that... I don't think that's enough to get him what he wants.
Nope.
Nope. Yeah, he needs another one. But
so he has to hope he can survive until next turn.
Mm-hmm.
He did get his hit crit again on the EST. It's not going to make much of a difference, but his black dice decided to like him for the last dying moments of Demolisher.
I can't actually tell what he chose with comm noise, because it looks like that victory's still going at speed 1. So maybe he changed the next command, although there's no text saying that a command has been changed.
Yeah, it could be they forgot to just update the ship.
Yes, the speed dial itself doesn't actually go below 1. So Matt's been using the speed dial. So he probably
Yep,
just...
that's why. I'm the same way. I don't actually usually use the ship or the dial on the.
See, now I hate the speed dial, and I use the one on the ship
something to
exclusively.
notice. The physical speed dial, well, the physical, whatever. But the speed dial does not go to 0, so be nice to have that.
You know,
Anyway.
projector misaligned as the critical, so that will take down the front shields of the victory. Getting some good criticals here at the late game, as well as some better dice.
Yeah, probably gonna be too little too late. Okay, so Big's just asking the players if the ISD is low to 0, so we'll see what they say. Yep, okay. So the ISD did slow to 0, and they updated it on the ship base.
Alright, so I think we can pretty reasonably see who is going to be advancing to the final of this match.
Yep. I would say the writing is most definitely on the wall.
Yeah.
And he'll be joining us tomorrow, along with JJ and Clone Trooper here, but they won't be talking, they'll be playing. And
Well, we'll be talking too. But...
yeah, you'll be talking to each other. And Madaghmire will be joining me here in the booth. And by booth, I mean chat logs here to chat about what he sees. And hopefully he'll be as great a help as you guys were, making all of my dead air into something actually listenable.
It's a lot of fun. So thank you for the
Yeah, I
opportunity.
definitely enjoyed it. I'm glad it's working out.
Not bad for the second Twitch ever. I mean, not counting the ones my friendly local game store, Rico, who you can see at Twitch TV/Drawbridge Games, set up for store tournaments. But I wasn't commentating on those or streaming them myself. Shameless plugs for everybody.
Now Demolisher's just getting beat up on by some fire sprays.
Yep. Losing his shields rapidly.
Redirect is gone. Been burnt.
Well, his shields.
And shields are pretty much gone. There's still two on the completely wrong side.
So that redirect might be hurting. Oh, they're undoing some stuff. They might have hit a couple wrong buttons.
And the race is gone. It looks like he took the rear shield instead of the front too. So he got rid of the brace and then took the rear shield.
Demolisher really wants to live so that he can get rid of that ISD as a last parting gift.
Be a moral victory at least. However, I don't see it happening.
True, the ISD still gets to activate first. So, judging from the pattern, he's gonna gain 2
Or-
ships back and move out.
And I would just.
I don't
activate
think
the
he's gonna move, actually.
I would just activate the VSD again. Squadron command the fire sprays to
True.
kill Demolisher. And there's a damaged munitions on Demolisher. Oof.
Oh, there you go.
Further reducing the firepower. Three hull left for Demolisher.
It'll at least live for the ISD to blow it up.
And then the VSD rams the ISD, it appears.
From the rear. Doing a tactical navigate command to slow down to speed -1, the VSD.
Basically. Yep, and Matt's just confirming that he just rammed himself.
Yeah. So he wanted to keep his victory where it is to, I assume, keep Demolisher.
I'm
Able
not
to get that front
sure.
arc.
Oh, he did have a navigate token, I guess. And like, he might not have had much of a choice.
If I had to guess, I'm guessing that he's expecting that VSD to finish off Demolisher.
Yeah, a squadron command with the fire spray should be plenty.
Getting more squadron dice into Demolisher. Looks like he took 3 damage, maybe, from that series. Maybe it's just 2. Yes, he lost his front shields. So that will be the end of that turn. Then they'll go to turn 6. Ooh,
20 more points for 20 more points for Mag for being in range 1 of the station, which is just insult to injury at this point.
Yes.
Yep.
And the
So the
ISD
Vic
is going first.
still has a double arc on Demolisher.
Or, sorry, I take that back. I meant the VSD.
Yeah.
Squadron commanding, as we expected. And
Kaboom,
that will be-
kaboom.
Demolisher is gone.
And yep,
And
that'll be game. And because the new rules say that things continue until the end, that'll be an extra 2 points, or an extra 20 points for Mag for having ships in range of the station. So 440 for Mag.
Yep, correct. To 72, which is leaves a healthy 10-0 win for him, actually. That squadron game early on really hurt Truth, and then that ISD just did too much too fast.
Wow, what a game. What a game.
Yes. And that Vic that rolled the 3 dice perfectly to avoid the double arc from the Vic. The
Yeah.
Truth Vic. The 2 dice, I guess, that got the 3 damage. It was like, I'm good, right? But no. The red dice gods favored Madaghmire today.
That they certainly did. Congratulations to Madaghmire, who moves on to the next round. And hopefully I'll see you all here tomorrow at 9 p.m. Eastern, which is 2 a.m. GMT, and whatever your frickin' local times are, I don't know.
At 6 p.m. for me.
And 8 p.m. for me.
So once again, thank you both of you for coming in. JJ, Klon, good luck tomorrow. May the best fleet win.
Oh,
Yeah,
thank
thank
you.
you very much.
I like the vote of confidence. Sorry, I just had to say it. Well, I guess I should head out now.
Good evening, folks. It's been fun.
User disconnected from your channel. User left your channel. Disconnected.